Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Living the Life show. I'm Esther Graham, your host, and I'm so excited to have our special guest here today, Bishop Larry Sales. Welcome, Bishop. How are you today?
I am doing very well. Thank you, Esther. I appreciate this opportunity.
Oh, wow. It's an honor to have you on our show today. So, if you're ready to get started, we're going to jump right in. Is that okay?
Absolutely, I'm ready. Yes.
All right. Okay. So, introducing yourself, can you tell me a little bit about you? Anything you want
Absolutely.
to share with us?
Absolutely. Some may know and some may not know that I am a native of Alabama. I grew up right here in central Alabama in Shelby
Okay.
County, right there in Montevallo, where the University of Montevallo is, home of the
Oh,
University of Montevallo.
okay.
Yes, within walking distance from the university.
Really?
And so I am a hometown boy. I grew up in Montevallo, joined the Navy right out of high school, spent 20 plus years on active duty in the Navy. And some of my, I would say, some noteworthy things concerning my active duty career, which I have a plethora of those, but two particular ones, I would say that I was on the game show, The Price is Right.
No. You've been
Yes,
on The
yes,
Price is Right?
yes, with Bob Barker.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. That's a legend. How far back has it been?
That was in 92.
Oh, my
In 92,
goodness.
yes.
Well, you are a celebrity.
Well, I don't, I might be a celebrity for the wrong reason because I never made it on stage. I stayed in contestants role the whole show.
Hey, well, who gets that opportunity? So I think that's commendable. Very
Yeah.
commendable. Oh my
And
God.
so from there, I said two things, but I'll give you three. The second one would be that I worked with Master Chief Carl Brochere. And if you're familiar with Master Chief Carl Brochere, if you're not, he
Um,
was the character depicted by Cuba Gooding Jr. in Men of Honor.
wow.
Diver's
Oh,
Master Chief. Yes.
really? So tell
Yes, I
us
worked.
about that.
Yes, I worked with him. He was retired when I worked with him. I was a second class petty officer in the Navy working in Norfolk, Virginia, and he was a civilian contractor. And as a matter of fact, he took me under his wings and mentored me. And so, just being a young petty officer, my first shore duty, and he just took me on his wing and mentored me, and even told me about his story long before the movie came out. This was in probably, I would say, I was on the Price Right 92, so probably about 93,
Wow.
94 time, 93 time frame. And
Very
so,
interesting. Very
yeah.
interesting. So what role did you play with him as far as him being your mentor? Tell us some of the things that you
Well,
did.
he encouraged me to not focus on some of the negative things that were occurring during that time frame. Some would say, well, it's 92, 90, I mean, 94, not much was going on. Well, there was. And in the location that I was in, there was a lot of things for a young petty officer to get involved in that would not have been advantageous to my career. And
Okay.
so he encouraged me to look for opportunities to give back into the community. I engaged with a elementary school there and was able to be a part of what was called the Coma Ziegler Project that was funded by Yale University. And so I had the opportunity to go to Yale University and be a part of that project and things of that nature. So he was a very positive influence in my life, and some of the things that he talked to me about then, even now, I make applicable to my life, and some of those things I'll talk about later on in the show. And so that would be number two. Then number three, I am a survivor of the attack on the Pentagon 9/11.
Are you
And so,
serious?
yes, yes, ma'am. I was there that day, and I don't really talk about it much in public because it's it's been more than 20 years ago, but it's just as sensitive today
Oh,
as it was then. And
oh,
so, but I would say if I had to point out three of the most major things that was part of my career, those three things would be it.
they are major. We need to do several other follow-up shows because all of those are interesting. Those are very, very interesting. And I'm sure that our viewers would like to hear more about each one of those. So, together with Lady Lynn and with you coming back at some point in time to share with us about each of those three things, we would love to have you.
Absolutely. I would be honored to do so.
Wow. May I ask this? How did all of those things, because I mean, normal people like me don't encounter those opportunities, every day or at all. How did it impact you, your life, so to speak?
Well, I got to tell you, growing up, I was uh, one of those kids that I never really felt like that I achieved a lot, and I never felt like I never won anything. I wasn't great in sports. I played football, but I wasn't great. I was in marching band and I played the bass drums, but I wasn't great in the drum with the drums. Um, and so I wasn't a great student. I was a C average student.
Uh-huh.
And so I always felt like, I never really achieved anything. So when God for me, and this is my encounter, when God began to allow these things to happen in my life, I began to say to myself, there's a reason why these things are occurring. And so I didn't just take them as, oh, this just happened. No, but there was a reason why these things occurred in my life. Being on The Price is Right, there was a reason why that happened.
Yes.
Working with Master Chief Carl Brochere,
Yeah.
God bless his soul, may rest in heaven. There was a reason why I worked with him in the time frame I did. Being at the Pentagon on September 11th, there was a reason why I was there.
Yeah.
And, so I don't take it for granted that these
Mm-hmm.
opportunities were presented to me. And
Mm.
as a matter of fact, they helped me to gain perspective on my life today.
Awesome. Awesome. Wow. Oh my God. See, I didn't know any of this. This is so interesting. My mind is just trying to process The Price is Right, the Pentagon, and the other. I can't remember the name of the gentleman, but he had some type of connection with Men of Honor.
Well, Master Chief Carl Shearer was the character that was depicted by Cuba Gooding Jr. in Men of Honor.
Wow.
The Navy diver, the first Black Navy diver. He was the first Black Navy diver in any form of the military, the first Black. And then not only was he the first Black Navy diver, then he continued his career after being a double amputee.
Really?
Yes, he was on a guided missile destroyer, and he was on the weather decks when they were doing, I think it was unrep, and one of the cables in the unrep broke loose, and he was the chief on deck, and
Oh,
it hit his legs and destroyed both his legs, so he became a double amputee.
oh,
But
wow.
he did not stop his duty. He
Mhm.
continued his duty in the Navy, in the
How
military.
awesome. How awesome. Oh my
Right.
goodness. And I'm just kind of going over what you had mentioned. You said that when you were in school, you didn't see yourself as an achiever. You played football, but you weren't great. And you said a few other things, but God, you have a very modest demeanor, and God can use people like that because
Yes.
he's elevated you. He has. And believe it or not, whether you know it or not, you're very successful. And I would imagine even back then, when you saw yourself as, no, I'm not a great achiever, I guarantee you, you were. I think you're just modest.
Let me tell you about football. This is
Okay.
and some of my classmates that were in school with me during that time will remember this. At the Montevallo High School, the orange and blue game, and I was on the defense, and here I was, probably 100 pounds soaking wet, and I was what would be called the wing back no, defensive back on the defense, and there was a runner, a fullback that came out of the backfield. I was on the blue team. He was on the orange team. And there was only one person between him and the goalpost and the goal line, the touchdown. And that was me. And so, so I used my body to tackle him. He ran over me now, but he didn't get the touchdown. So,
oh my goodness. Hey, you played victoriously. Oh my God. Now, I don't think that's an underachiever by no means. I bet you got a lot of cheers.
I think I did, or a lot of laughs. I'm not sure which one it was, whether cheers or folks laughing.
Oh my God, Lord. You are amazing, Bishop. You are amazing. Tell us about your family. You know, Lady Lynn, and I know she's gonna say, where did she get that name from? But I haven't met her yet, but I feel like I know her and I would like to meet her. But tell us about Lady Lynn and children, if you have any children.
Absolutely. I call it a T or Terry Lynn,
Okay.
but she and I in August we will be married for 34 years in
This is
August.
longevity.
It's longevity. It is. It is indeed.
I commend
It
you.
hasn't always been a honeymoon. Understand that now.
Oh, I know
But
about that.
it's longevity. And
Yes.
Teresa, and I will switch back between the two, but
Okay.
she has been a part of my life. I would say my entire adult ministry,
Wow.
my entire adult ministry. I met her in San Diego, California, at her then her uncle slash father's church, Bishop Henry Page, St. Paul Church of God in Christ in San Diego, and we got married there in '89,
Oh,
and she's been standing by my side and putting up with me for since '89. Even during my military career, when I had to deploy, and I did 4 deployments in the first 8 years of our marriage, was pretty much sea duty. And but she was there. She took care of my kids. And
oh,
speaking of my kids, my oldest son, Dante, is 34 years old, just turned 34 in
okay.
May.
Uh-huh.
Uh, 33, 34, 33. 33, 33. He's one of them.
One of them. Okay.
He's
Uh-huh.
33. And then
Okay.
my daughter, Alexis, yes, he's 33. My daughter, Alexis, just turned 31 years old
Oh,
in April. And
uh-huh.
my youngest son, Uriah, will turn 29 in September. So,
Wow.
and they are they're adult children, but they are absolutely amazing.
Oh, wow.
Uh, you sit down and talk with Dante,
Uh-huh.
and you will be engulfed in the conversation that you have with him
Uh-huh.
on so many different levels. If you're not familiar with this economist named Thomas Sowell, after you talk with Dante, you will do research on Thomas Sowell.
Oh, really?
He's a student of Warren Buffett. And so he is just an amazing young man, very intellectual. And he's a great actor as well. He's pursuing so many things in his life, just absolutely fabulous. As well as my daughter Alexis, I would say Alexis is the trailblazer of the family. She is the one that I would say, if there was any three of them that was more like me in that area, I would say that she is.
Wow.
Because when they graduated from college, from high school, my statement to them was, after you complete your college degree, go to college, you can do whatever it is that you choose you want to do. Go wherever you want to go. And she went to the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, graduated. And when she graduated, 6 months after she graduated, she told us she was going to move into LA.
Oh, wow.
And she didn't just say it. She left and moved to LA.
Oh, wow.
After she graduated. Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
And shortly after that, her brothers followed her to LA, and now she is attending a well-known school, and the school escapes my mind. Stella Adler in New York. She's attending a graduate program in theater and acting at Stella Adler, and doing an amazing job. And so she was in the holiday movie Grace and Family Christmas. And so she has done some pretty amazing things, and she continues to be great. Alexis is absolutely a phenomenal young lady. And then we come to my youngest son, which is Uriah. Uriah is, if I would say, has the calmest spirit. He would be the one that has the calmest spirit out of all five of us.
Okay.
Not just of the children, but out of all five of us. Wow. And then not only does he have the calmest spirit, but his personality, it is hard to depict the type of personality that Uriah has. He's the type of individual, the type of young man that I would say that God created in him the thing that needed to be here for this time on this earth.
Wow.
That is the type of personality that he has. He has the ability, when he talks, he's very, very calm, even in tumultuous situations. He's very calm, and he's able to process scenarios and situations. And this is why he is probably one of the best licensed and certified massage therapists in Los Angeles. Work at Burt Williams, one of the most well-known the massage spas in Santa Monica in Los Angeles, and always requested, always asked for by a number of different people. So he is absolute. And Uriah, even though all three of my children are in the arts, in theater and on the screenplays, and things of that nature, he is such a character that he's a natural without even trying to do it. He's that type of individual.
Oh,
And they get all of that. They get all that, of course, from their prolific mother.
It's awesome. And you know what I'm hearing? I'm hearing that we have at least 4 more shows. I don't know how I'm going to be able to catch your children because they're so busy in California, but please kind of break the ice and let them know that this lady on Living the Life would love an opportunity to interview them.
Well, I can tell you this right now. Dante will jump on that opportunity, and you will probably have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shows just in one conversation with Dante.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. Your family is very gifted. You know, from Teresa, the children, you are. Oh my goodness.
And I have to be biased, or I'm non-biased in saying that, yes, they are. They
are
my
gifted.
My family is I'm very proud of them. Very proud.
I know you are. And you should boast about them. They're your gift from God, and you're a gift from God to them. So that is absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Well, tell us, how did you get started in the ministry?
Well, I always went with my father. My father pastored pretty much all of my life. He pastored in my younger years. He pastored 2 churches at one time, one in Briarfield, Alabama, and then the other one in Allmount during the same time frame. And so I would always be with my father when he would go to church, whether it was revival or anything of that nature. I was always with him. And as I grew up, I knew that I was different than the other kids, but I didn't understand how.
Wow.
But I knew that that was a difference. And so when I graduated from high school, I felt I had right before I graduated from high school, I felt I had a calling on my life. But then I thought that it was because of the influence of my parents, my mother and father, because they kept me in church, that had something to do with it. And I did not want to go into ministry based on the fact that my father's been a pastor, my mother's a missionary in the church, and my family, I didn't want to do it for that reason. So I decided to join the Navy. I had a scholarship at the University of Montevallo in voice, but I decided that I didn't want to take it, and I decided to join the Navy. And I joined the Navy, and I was in California. This guy on board the ship I was on I always see him going to Bible study or going to church and doing different things, getting off of duty and going to church on Sunday morning. So I asked him if I could go with him, and I went with him. And from there, it's pretty much history, because I was just engaged and involved in what was happening there in the local ministry, or sometimes walk from the ship to 31st and Imperial in San Diego. And anybody that knows San Diego knows that 31st and Imperial is not the best area. And I would walk there from the ship to the church, and sometimes from the church back to the ship. And I just believe that God was, even during that time, was using me and cultivating me for now. Yeah. So that's where my ministry really began in San Diego. Wow. At St. Paul, Greater St. Paul Church of God in Christ there in San Diego. Wow,
that's awesome. So I see you have a little bit of what they call us. I'm a member of the Assembly, one of the Assembly of God churches, and they call us Pentecostals, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So I see you have a little bit of that in your blood too.
Absolutely. I grew up Baptist, but in my adult ministry, it was Pentecostal Church of God in Christ, Colgate. Okay. My entire adult ministry, as a minister, as an elder, and as a pastor in the Church of God in Christ, under Bishop Henry Page, under Bishop Ted Thomas, both late, deceased at this time. Both of them under their leadership in the Church of God in Christ, and Superintendent Lloyd Coles in Northern Virginia. So yes, there is quite a bit of Pentecostal blood that flows through my veins.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Wow. Well, tell me about your church. It's interesting, the name. Originally it was Hopewell Baptist, but now it's called the Well.
Yes, it is. Originally, it was Hopewell Missionary Baptist Church. Okay. Changed to Hopewell Baptist Church under one of the other pastors. Okay. Then when I came, I guess the leadership there kept it as Hopewell Missionary Baptist Church. Okay. And Hopewell Missionary Baptist Church is still the legal name of the church. Okay. But customer facing, I would say customer facing or public facing, it is the Well and Evolutionary Church.
I love that.
Now, when we, my wife and I, my family got there to Hopewell, the Well, she came up. I don't know where it came from, but God, I do know where it came from. God dropped it in her spirit to add the tagline, "There is hope at the well."
Oh, I love that.
Yes, from John chapter 4. John chapter 4, verse 4, the woman at the well, when Jesus was at the well, and the woman came to the well, she did not know that there was going to be hope at the well. But when she got there, she was seeking to drink something, and she was thirsty, and she drank from the living well. Yes. Yes. Oh, and so that is how the name, the Well, came about. And an evolutionary church, that goes into another story from the Bible with Joshua. And so I believe, and this is perhaps another dialogue for another time, that sometimes we try to separate evolution and Christianity, when in fact, evolution and Christianity are tied together.
Wow.
If you do not evolve, first of all, if you don't evolve, you cannot be a Christian. We have to evolve from something that we were to something else. So
Yes.
there has to be
Yeah.
evolution in the Christian walk. And then, because there's evolution, that is a change. That is going from one thing to something different, something new. And when God, the Bible tells us that we are new creatures, we are a new creation in Him. And the only way we can be a new creation and a new creature is to evolve.
Oh, wow.
This is one of the, I guess, one of the areas within the church, even the African American church, that we fail to recognize and look at and see, is that we must evolve. I heard this statement that every 5 to 10 years, society evolves. Right. If society is evolving every 5 to 10 years, and my church started back in it's 166 or 167 years old.
Wow.
So if we did not evolve from 100 years ago, we are 100 years behind society. Are you effective? At 100, if I live to be 166 years old, how effective will I be if I don't change with the time?
Okay.
That doesn't mean that the message of God has changed, but my delivery of the message must change. There must be an evolution.
Awesome. Wow.
So,
oh my goodness. But tell us a little bit about your church then. See, what am I trying to ask? Is it contemporary? Or maybe that's not the word I'm looking for. Is it a little bit of Pentecostal, non-denominational, fitting in with the evolutionary component? Am I saying that right?
You are. And what we say is we're not non-denominational, we're not Pentecostal, and as one of my spiritual fathers say, we're ecumenical. But using that term, I say that we're church unusual.
Oh, okay.
We don't necessarily fit into any mold, because I believe that when God speaks, we must follow and do what He says to do.
Yes.
And if we are caught into one particular way of doing things, then that limits God and what He can do in His own house.
Wow.
And so we operate with the premises that this is God's house.
Okay.
And whatever God says, that's what we do.
Awesome.
And so, and with spirit led, biblical, led by the Bible taught, and follow the leading of God and the Spirit. This is why it's easy for us to evolve to what God has called us to be. We are all things to all people.
I love it. I love it. And I'm just listening. And as I listen to you, I'm thinking about the title of our show, Living the Life. Actually, you've given directives, you've given components that could help us, people regardless of their status, class system, or what have you, you're helping people to deal with whatever situations they're dealing with. And since we're post-COVID, I've noticed that it's so many, how could I say it, trials, tribulations. I was reading something today, or maybe I may have been watching a news documentary. We are still suffering from the impact of COVID. And you're offering hope to the communities, that you're serving. And we need that. I have never, oh my God, I'm a senior adult, and I can never, ever remember anything like what we're experiencing now.
Yes.
You're offering hope, and you're helping people to live the best life they can, putting God first. And
Yes.
we so need that. Oh my God, we so need that.